Hello all, welcome back. So in previous videos we already seen how we can create a private cloud SQL instance, then how we can access private cloud SQL instance from a Linux VM using MySQL client, and now in this video we'll see how we can access a private cloud SQL instance from Windows VM using a MySQL Workbench. That is a very commonly used MySQL utility to access a cloud SQL and run or execute SQL queries. So here one thing to remember, if you try to access your cloud SQL instance which is private from your local system using MySQL Workbench, it won't work because it is not having any external IP. So it only communicate using an internal IP. For that you need to create a Windows VM inside the same VPC network so that we can access a private cloud SQL instance within the network from the Windows machine. So let's go to Cloud Console and let me create a Windows machine and do all the configuration in the same video so you can understand complete end-to-end flow. Before that, let me show you once again what we are going to do. So again, we are going to create one Windows VM and I am going to access a Windows VM which is private using a IAP. I will create IAP Tunnel from my local machine and I'll access a private Windows machine, and using a MySQL Workbench I'll try to access a private cloud SQL instance. Okay, so we'll implement this complete flow as a single project. So let's go to Cloud Console now. So this is a Linux VM we already created. Now one thing to remember, you can create a Windows VM with external IP as well, or you can create using a private IP. It's up to your requirement, your project needs. So here, to keep it more secure and a production practice, I'll be creating it using only a private IP, and to access internet I have created a cloud.net so I can install MySQL Workbench from internet and a dependencies for MySQL Workbench. Okay, so let's create a Windows instance. So let me go to the create instance here. Name I'll give a jump v Windows. Okay, so because it will act as a jump VM so you can access your private instance from this virtual machine. Here I will use a Windows operating system. So if you are using a free trial account, you have to first enable billing to use your Windows system, else it will throw an error. So I already enabled billing and I'm using a complete account, not a free trial account, so it won't give me an error. So let me go and change the network. So as I said, we have to create this virtual machine in the same network where our Cloud SQL instance is available. So we have our Cloud SQL private instance in a database VPC. So I'll be creating this Windows VM also in database VPC. Okay. And to access IAP, we have to give tags because I have created a firewall using a IAP tag. So just use IAP tags. So if you don't know how to enable IAP to access VM without external IP, you can refer my previous videos. I already created videos on IAP and networking, how we can access a virtual machine without a external IP. So in this video, I'll quickly show you how to log in into Windows VM which do not have external IP. Okay, VM is created and you do not see this RDP option here. Okay, because I do not have any external IP, and let's see if this is allowed to log in using IAP firewall. So let me go to the firewall, quickly go to a VPC and see if my firewall is available to log in using a IAP. So to log in using IAP, we have to create one firewall rule from a Google IAP tunneling range. So that is fixed range. We'll show that firewall. So if you already followed my last video, you already know about this, how I created this firewall rule. Okay, so I allow traffic from this IAP range, which is a predefined range from Google, and I allowed on both the port like 22, which is for Linux, and 3389 for a Windows VM. So I will see if this firewall is enforced on my Windows VM. So here you can see it is enforced on my Linux as well as Windows VM because I am using this IAP tag. Okay, So if this tag is attached to my VM can use this a firewall rule. Okay, now second thing, to access a Windows VM which is not having external IP, here you do not have RDP, but for Linux you directly have SSH option here. Then how to access this VM which is not having external IP? For that we have to create one IAP tunnel using a gcloud command. So let me show you. This is a gcloud command. I can use open tunnel to instance RDP port on a specific local port. Okay, so this I have to run on my CMD or PowerShell. So let me open a PowerShell or SDK, not CMD. Let me open Cloud Shell SDK, which should be installed in my local. Okay, and here let me edit this command. So I want to use 8080 port from my local, and here I have to give instance name which is jump in. Okay, and I believe it will ask for a project detail as well, so I will give project TechTrapture dev and zone US Central 1A. Let me confirm if it is US Central 1A. Yeah, that is correct. And let me enter it and we'll see if it gives any error. Then we'll try to troubleshoot that. So it will create tunnel on this 8080 port on my local, and there we can RDP and access to our Windows virtual machine. And now you can see it is listening on port 8080. It means our IAP tunnel is working. Now how to connect? Simply open RDP. So I'm just explaining in more detail, so video can be a bit longer, but I just want to explain everything. So I'll just type localhost, okay, 8080, and now I'll use my credential. So I'm still yet to create my Windows credential. So you don't need to close this window, just minimize it. If you close it, it won't work. You have to keep this in minimized state only. So I'll go here and I'll set my Windows password. Okay, I'll copy this and I'll try to use this password. If it asks for password, it means it is working fine. At least the port is working fine. There is no connectivity issue. Yes, it asks for password. Let me log in. And now it should allow me to log in into our virtual machine, which will be our Windows VM. Now there we'll first install a MySQL Workbench quickly, and it might ask for a Microsoft C++ Visual Code distributions. So we'll install that also if required. Okay, we are logged in inside a VM now. So let me open a browser and try to download. So I have already have internet access as I installed, or I created a cloud net here. So let me quickly install MySQL Workbench here to connect to our Cloud SQL instance. Let me just expand this bit. So this is just a first time setup taking some time. So I'll simply type here MySQL Workbench, download, and download the latest version of MySQL Workbench. So inside VM it won't take much time to download. So I'll simply download this. So it will be quick. Yeah, so it's already downloaded. So let me open it. Yeah, so I was expecting this Visual C++ distributable package required. So let me install or let me download that also. So I have this copied. Let me directly paste here. You can download this from official Microsoft site. Okay, and let me download this. First I will install this and then I will go for MySQL Workbench. So it is smaller, so won't take much time. Okay, it's done. Now let me open MySQL Workbench. Okay, let me go back and start again because it's recently installed, so it is not detecting. From download, let me run setup. Okay, now it's detected. Let me install MySQL Workbench. Just follow the steps, it will be quick. Okay, it's finished. Let's open a MySQL Workbench here. Okay, and now simply I can create a connection. Here I have to put connection name, so I'll just put a SQL, and here I need to put my internal IP because this is in the same VPC, so it can detect a internal IP of my Cloud SQL instance. So let me copy it. Okay, and let me test connection. So let me enter a password. Okay, and it's successfully connected. So let me connect now and execute some query. So here you can see the status and the connections, dashboards, everything in your MySQL Workbench. So let me execute a query. Okay, and you got a result. So it is successfully connecting to our database. So this is how we can connect using a MySQL Workbench and connect to a Cloud SQL private instance. So that's it for this video. If you have any issues or doubt related to this video, let me know in comment section and I'll try to answer all the questions. So thank you for watching this video.